Hello, hello. Happy Friday. So this month for parent outreach, we decided to do recorded presentations for parents, just to make it easier for you to all see it in on your time and in your schedule, and so you don't have to miss out. I know as a working parent, it's hard to get to things in the middle of the day. So thank you so much for those who reached out and gave us ideas about topics. There were some pretty close calls, whether it was literacy, math, or behavior. But right now, behavior went out, but it has given me an idea that maybe in the coming weeks, I'll make another video of literacy tips and tricks and then another one for math tips and tricks. So we're going to start with behavior. I have my little notes here. So if I'm looking down, that's why I just don't want to forget anything. So I know a lot of our job as teachers and parents of little ones, it comes with a lot of teaching how to handle big feelings, how to handle rejection, or, us telling them no, they can't have things. Um, it's funny because when you think about it, what is one of the kids' first words that they hear is no, because we want to keep them safe. We don't want them doing anything to put themselves in harm's way once they start moving and talking. So no is a natural part of just kind of how we've all grown up. Um, Now that being said, we're trying to kind of shift the focus away from no to teaching them a more positive spin on the behavior we want to see rather than focusing on the negative behavior. So instead of saying no running, we're going to say walking feet, please, or stop hitting. We're going to say gentle hands or kind hands or something similar to that effect. I know. It took me a while, as a mom, as a parent, to be like, oh gosh, do we have to make it any more, spinning for this behavior for kids? Because that's not what we grew up with, or at least that's not what I grew up with. I grew up with no, and no means no, and you don't get an explanation why. It's because that's what they said. Um, but now we are learning through all kinds of different research and just understanding the mind of little ones that they do need to be taught, like, my feelings right now are so big and you're telling me no. So I'm going to do what I can, cry, scream, meltdown to get what I want. Um, so, sorry. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to maybe avoid saying no to help minimize the amount of meltdowns. Because let's be honest, we're not going to be able to stop all meltdowns because that's just how kids respond. That's how little ones let us know that they're frustrated when they don't have the words to explain it. Okay, so we have to kind of get to the root of the behavior of the meltdowns to understand how to fix it, right? So most of the meltdowns come because they don't get what they want, right? Whether it's a toy at the grocery store or it's a a treat when they want it at home, or it's something that somebody's playing with, or a toy that their brother has or sister has. So the root usually is they're not getting what they think they want at the time, right? And we get that as adults. We don't want to be told no. Like, if I want a piece of chocolate after dinner, I'm going to go have a piece of chocolate. But I know that I need to eat my dinner first, then I can have my treat. So we need to teach them, you can't have it now, but you can have it after XYZ. Um, so the first thing we want to do is teach them, like, it's okay to feel how you're feeling. Like, it's okay to be mad. It's okay to be sad. It's even okay to cry, not scream, but it's okay to cry. So letting them understand that what they're feeling, one, is okay, because we're all entitled to our feelings, right? Even when it happens at the most inopportune time as a parent. Validating them that I hear you. I hear how you're feeling. You're feeling frustrated. You're feeling sad. You're feeling mad. And give them those words to use, because it's okay for them to use those words. Um, we use those a lot in the classroom. It's okay that you're sad about this. It's okay that you're frustrated, but it's not okay that we threw the toy, because it's not safe. It's not okay that we're screaming because our friends can't concentrate or because it's disrupting the classroom. Okay. So validate the feelings, tell them the behavior that it's not okay, right? Um, my own kids, it's hard sometimes. Trust me, I have these two boys and then my third one, and she has tested all my parenting, all my teaching from all these years. And it's hard in the moment sometimes because as they get escalated, we get escalated. Um, but it's kind of calming ourselves down to then be able to confidently and calmly explain to them, like, I understand that you're mad that you can't have what you want, but what you can have is XYZ, right? So giving them an alternative thing to think about. It's almost like distracting them because, like, how easily distractible are they sometimes, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Some of your kiddos are very persistent on what they want, but you have to be firm and we can't do this right now, but we can give XYZ, right? You can't have that piece of chocolate now, but if you have dinner and you eat a good dinner, then maybe we can have one piece of chocolate. Okay. We can't have that toy at the store right now. Okay. Because that's not what we're here for. I use that one a lot. We are not here for that. Um, but maybe for, I don't even know, your birthday, or maybe as a reward for, having good behavior or eating really good or potty training, depending on where they're at. And if you don't ever want to get them that gift or that toy, that's okay too. Tell them, say, no, we have enough toys. How about when we get home, you play with and give them one of their favorite toys to make them start thinking about that favorite toy. Okay. So validating their feelings, telling them what's not okay, and then giving them alternative choices for what you would like them to have, right? It's kind of like an art of being sneaky and of being like 3 steps ahead of your child. Um, but once you start getting in the habit of using that language, I think it's going to help. It's also good to have conversations with them. I know they're 3, they're 4, they're 5. And in the midst of their meltdown, they're not going to hear it. They're not going to hear what you're saying other than validating how they feel, right? You're upset and that's okay, but we can't lay down and scream. Or sometimes what I've done too is, well, I'm going to wait until you're finished. There's been a handful of times, well, less than maybe 3, that I had to leave a store because love my daughter, and I hate keep hating throwing her under the bus, but she is my friend who has tested me in my parenting, and we've had to leave stores because she just wouldn't accept the answer that I gave her, and we had meltdowns, and I have left carts and I have apologized and said, I'm sorry, but we can't stay. Most people are going to understand. I mean, parent to parent, like, we get it. We've all been there when our kids are melting down in public, and it's kind of embarrassing, but if you stop and think about it, all of us have been through it. Like, my job is teaching that age level, and I've been there. Like, my daughter has been front and center in a full-on meltdown because she didn't get the toy that she wanted at the store. Um, but my biggest thing is don't give in. Like, if you don't want them to have it, I don't care what behavior they display, don't give in to it. They want to go to this park, but you had plans to go to this park, go to that park. If they cry, then you simply say it's okay to be sad, but if you keep crying, you're going to miss out on your playtime. Okay? You kind of have to stick to your guns on certain things. When my daughter was throwing her fit, it would have been so easy when we got to the car and she calmed down to be like, "Okay, we can go back at it. Thank you for calming down." That's going to teach her that if she doesn't get what she wants, and she throws that epic meltdown, that's like, oh my gosh, everyone is staring at me. They think I'm the worst mom ever. Do they think I'm hurting her? Like, all those things that go through your mind when your child is melting down. Um, don't give in. Don't go back and be like, well, okay. Mm-mm. It's hard, and it's so hard as a parent to have your child act that way towards you, like you're the worst thing on the planet. But I promise, if you give those boundaries, if you give them, like, no, this is not happening, no matter what you do. And sometimes it's going to get worse before it gets better. Like, if your child has already kind of learned, like, they can manipulate you, because let's be honest, they're so smart in that regard to get what they want. So if you're undoing some of that behavior, it might take a while and it might get messier and harder to start. But if you stick to your boundaries, I promise it'll get a little bit better. Okay, so validate what they're feeling, tell them what's not acceptable, give them an alternative what they could have or what you could do instead. Um, Another good trick is not actually saying the word no, because I feel like as soon as they hear the word no, it's like they don't hear anything else. So instead of just blatantly saying no, maybe come up with a question that can like redirect their thinking. Um, I guess a prime example would be like, um, I heard a story about this child who wanted to have a lemonade stand. And, you know, logically, 50 cents, maybe a dollar for a cup of lemonade. Well, this child wanted to do $12 a cup, right? So instead of just being like, no, like that's not logical, come up with a question that, okay, well, you know, what do you think that would look like if we charged $12 per cup? Like, would you pay that? Do you think your mom would pay that? Do you think whoever would pay that? And just make them think about it. Now, granted, your 3, 4, and 5-year-olds probably not going to be talking about a lemonade stand, but it was just a good example of using something different other than just a no. Sometimes we have to just say no, but if you can strategically say it in a way without actually using the words, sometimes that does help, because once they hear no, sometimes it's like a light switch has been flipped, right? Um, so we have to teach them how to handle, right? Not being able to get what they want. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I think it's very important that we understand and we know as moms, as dads, as grandparents, as teachers, that their behavior is usually speaking to us in some way, trying to inform us of what they want. And we have to teach them that it's okay to want these things, but we don't always get it when we want it, right? It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel upset. So when you give in, though, and trust me, we've all been there, it's been a long day, one thing after another, and then your kid throws this epic meltdown at home, and you're like, oh my gosh, whatever, you can have it. Um, Trust me, we've all been there, right? But right there, that validates that behavior. That validates their meltdown. So, as hard as it is, and I know parenting is hard, and I get it, um, we have to be firm in those thoughts, in those beliefs, in those boundaries that say, no, I'm sorry. You can have X, Y, or Z, but we're not having this, or whatever it is. It's raining outside and they want to go, to the park. Well, look at it outside. It's raining. What would happen if we went outside? So don't say no right away. Cause I don't know about you guys, but I don't always go to the park when it's raining. But like, what would happen if we went outside? What if we got all wet? What would happen to our clothes? So put it that way and just maybe kind of make them think about it in a broader sense, right? Okay, sorry, I'm just making sure I got everything. So again, just using your persuasiveness to channel them to what you want them to do. Giving options, giving choices. That's huge, because if you think about it, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds don't have a lot of control of what happens in their life. They're shuttled here, they're shuttled there, they're told this, you have to eat your vegetables, you have to brush your teeth. So giving them choices, giving them options in the same realm of what you're okay with, totally awesome. Do that. What I suggest, though, and what I strongly urge you, is to not give them a choice that is not beneficial to you as the parent, and or will make their behavior go up, right? So trigger their behavior. Where if you give them these options and then it maybe doesn't work out because dad's working late, or brother and sister have practice and you can't do something, just be careful what the choices that you're given. After the meltdown or before the meltdown, um, you know, think about you and how you converse with people. If you ask a boss, a friend, or somebody a question or ask them to do something and they just tell you no with like no explanation, no regards to like why they can't do whatever it is like you're asking them to do, what's your first question usually? Well, why? I mean, it's me. I'm a very inquisitive / nosy person. So I'd be like, well, why can't you? Or, why did you say no? We have to offer that same courtesy to kiddos. Like if they're doing, I don't know, throwing toys, right? We know that that's not safe. Well, they might not know it because they just think it's really fun to like throw something and watch it go far and see how strong they are. So tell them, we can't throw toys because it's unsafe. Your friends could get hurt. You could get hurt, right? The toy could break. Explain why. Which is funny because, again, the way I grew up, we don't get an explanation because I said no, right? Because I said so. But I promise it'll go a little bit further if you will explain to them what the behavior is expected and, why. Why do you want them to behave in a certain way? Um, I don't know. I am hoping this helps. I'm hoping this gives you some examples of what kind of verbiage you can use, what kind of language you could use. But I guess my biggest advice, and I know it's hard, and trust me when I say I do understand how hard it is when you're trying to parent your own kids. Because I'll be honest with you, sometimes I have way more patience for your kids than I do my own. I'm just like, oh my gosh, would you just listen sometimes? And then I have to like, well, she needs something from me or he needs something from me. So behavior is usually some type of language for I need something. Okay, whether it's attention or if it's a physical object that they want. Um, Usually the bad behavior is them looking for something. So try to find the root cause of the behavior, right? And sometimes it's they simply just want what they want. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just like, no, this is what I want. And if I don't get it, this is what I'm going to do. So again, just to kind of sum up what we were talking about is validate their feelings. It is hard to get told no. So just say, I do understand that you're sad and you're frustrated. But it's not okay to throw yourself on the floor. It's not okay to scream and shout. It's not okay to kick or hit because let's be honest, there's sometimes where they're trying to throw something at you because they're mad and they don't have the words to say, I'm so mad at you, mommy, because you won't let me have this. Because think about it, when you get really angry, like your sense of reasoning kind of goes out the window, right? If you get so frustrated because something's going on, sometimes you're not thinking logically. Well, that's the same thing that happens to these little ones. They don't know how to think logically when they're like, "What? I just want that toy," right? Or I just want that turn. Um, so validate, say what's not acceptable, give them options, and then explain why. You can do this because Johnny is using the toolbox right now or whatever. Or, oh, he's playing with the dinosaurs, so you'll have to wait your turn. While you're waiting, you can, go draw a picture or you can play a game or you can help me in the kitchen. Give them alternatives. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, reach out. I'd be more than happy to, have a conversation or maybe just explain more specifically with certain students what we do in the classroom. Because I'll be honest with, like, you guys know, they act better for me than they do at home. My child is the same exact way. She's so much better for her teacher and at home she just like lets it all loose, right? So any questions, please reach out. I hope you found this helpful. If you didn't, thanks for watching anyway. But again, just reach out with any questions or concerns, and I'll look to make some videos for literacy tips and tricks, and then math tips and tricks. All right. Thanks so much. Bye.